everyone. Hey, what's up? It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical Podcast, and this is your weekly channeled message, tarot card, yada, 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 for the week ahead, for April 5th, the week ahead. Listen, Emperor energy of April is very strong, which means that you might be getting your shit together, or you might have an instinct or a desire to get your shit together. You might be taking care of things that have been lingering since December, November, because of the way that this Mercury retrograde is wrapping itself around our energy in April. Such cool momentum that the Emperor provides us, but in the window of this Hangman and in the window of this Mercury retrograde, you want to try to ground yourself in the energy of pacing and right timing, and you're always right on time. The speed with which you're moving is the right speed, and there can be an urgency to kind of like a whipping energy, like an energy of more, faster, better, quicker, more done, more complete, more stable. You might have this energy, this momentum that is actually veering off into the side of unhealthy energy, unhealthy Emperor energy. That rigidity, that pressure to get things done might not be serving you. It might, like, depending on how your astrology, your energy, your practice lines up with this energy, it could be that this feels really good. It could be that this provides this clarity of thought and structure and clarity of what to do next. That feels really good. And for all of us, that's probably true on some level. But there's also this kind of frenetic urgency to the energy as well that you want to be aware of, the potential for that. You want to be aware of this energy of doing just to do. And so it would behoove you to have a sense of, how is this feeling for me? Where is my self-talk in all of this? Am I moving with efficiency and sovereignty and a sense of what's mine, or am I moving with a sense of trauma response? I think that would be the most simple way to say that. The Emperor energy is always going to ask us to evaluate what is ours, what's on your list. Like, if life is saying to you, handle your business, what's your business? Like, what's your business? And are you clear? Normally in an Emperor energy, there's this notice or witnessing of the ways that you are trying to handle things that are not your business. The energy right now in April, again with this Mercury retrograde, again with this Hangman, is this really beautiful redirection of, oh right, that's not mine. I might love that person. I might love that place. I might want all of these things, but are they my business? Like, is it mine to handle? It's an interesting check, an interesting litmus test. Okay, that's actually not my business. What part of me overreaches? What part of me reaches over there? And what am I avoiding that is my business by reaching into other people's business? Do you hear me? Do you get that? Do you know what I'm saying? The Hangman also offers us this beautiful check, and I want you to, again, so the retrograde calls us back to December energy, but so does that Hangman. If you remember, in December we were in the Sun and the Hangman for that December energy. Now we find ourselves in the Emperor and the Hangman. The Sun and the Emperor, the way they dialogue together is really interesting, right? It's this sense of my own power, my happiness, my satisfaction, my joy in living, and how the Emperor supports that, how the Emperor creates a safe space for that, how handling your business gives you the space to actually enjoy what's yours, enjoy this beautiful life. The Hangman is echoing in both of these energies, which means it's calling our attention back to things that happened in December, things that might need to get handled, that might need to get clarified, that might need to get completed and managed well, managed better in this month ahead. So all of that's with us. And just to kind of touch back on last week, that 8 energy, that strength energy echoing in the strength year, it's important. Whatever happened, whatever was activated or revealed to you in that week was important. So I hope you, were paying attention, had some thoughts on that, had some experience of that, the way that the world was trying to get your attention to focus on this thing, whatever that thing is for you. And because of where we are, it might have something to do with boundaries. It might have something to do with what's your business and what's other people's business. I said it last week, but the Hangman showing up with the Emperor and April energy is really going to reorient or shift our perspective around our domain, around what is mine to handle, around where my responsibilities lie. And I said it last week, but I'll say it again because I think maybe you need to hear it again. I need to hear it again. We all need to hear it again. What are you not handling that is your business, that is right in front of you? You have where you might like your energy to be, and then you have where life is directing you, what life is popping up in front of you, what are the ways you might be avoiding that or trying to skirt around that or procrastinating that or delaying that? This month, it just so benefits you to deal with it head on, to face it, to face whatever instinct you have to turn away. Why, baby? What do you think might happen? What might happen if you actually address the thing that life is asking you to address? I will tell you, great stores of energy get released because great stores of energy are bound up in the avoidance, in the resistance, in the turning away. Okay, which brings us to the card of the week. The card of the week for this week of April 5th is the Page of Swords. Swords are our mental body, our mental energy, our thoughts, our constructs, our language, our communication, air energy. So the way that we draw from the immaterial into form. And then the page is the first one to hold the gift. God, Source, the Divine hands you this new angle on thinking, this new angle on communicating, this new language, this new thought, this new perspective, this new insight. And the page is the first one to get it. And so the page is like, oh, I have this new thing and I don't really know what to do with it. Let's play, let's experiment, let's see what is shifting as I wield this new tool. When the Page of Swords comes up, we're often faced with this question around, or challenged with this question around how we communicate, whether it's effective. Swords can indicate anything to do with the mental body, anything to do with the throat chakra, with communication. But the Page of Swords this week really came up as a clear message around words. And the thought that came, or the image that came, was dancing with words. And it felt both playful and energetic, and also a little bit wild and a little bit dangerous. So what that says to me is that you want to be aware of your language this week. Be aware of how you're communicating these new thoughts, these new perspectives, these new insights. Also be aware that other people might come to you with their new thoughts, insights, words, ideas, and it might be a little jarring. The whole thing might feel a little bit, again, it's that same energy. It's like a frenetic energy. It's like a, what? It's not tracking. It's not, here's what I would say. Words are form. Language is the way that we give form to unspeakable things, which means that how we speak about things actually creates the world, right? If you've ever studied linguistics or you've ever studied narrative therapy, you know that the words you choose create the reality you're living in. And so much of what we're teaching children when we teach them language is how to create structure in a wild world. The words you choose do create the structure. And I know I'm getting a little like odd and academic about this, but it's kind of an important concept. Because if you ever do any kind of family therapy work or family systems work or family constellations work or narrative therapy or even talking therapy, you begin to notice that people have patterns around their language. We speak the same, and this goes back to that sorcery idea. We speak the same language over and over again. And the way I feel that this week is that it feels a little bit dry and it feels a little bit dead. So when we first choose words, there's a freshness to them. There's like, here's a word, here's an idea, and I want to put it into form so that you can metabolize it. So much of our language is dependent on our thought, and so much of our thought is repetitive. 90% of the thoughts you think today, you will have thought yesterday and you will think tomorrow. So we kind of get on these like neural loops, these neural pathways, right? Talking about opening up new neural pathways. That is very related to language. So you're trying to expand. This is where flexibility, mental resilience becomes important. You're trying to expand the ways in which you're communicating with yourself, first and foremost, in your thought space, but then with others out in the world. And when we're not infusing our language with freshness, when we're not sitting and really feeling into the energy and trying our best to create form that feels alive and real with our language. So we kind of default to the things we've said before, and we default to the ways we've spoken about something, the ways we've told our own story. When we're telling that story over and over again, it loses its vitality. The Page of Swords is so much vitality in your language. That is both a beautiful thing and it can be a challenging thing. So I offer you this week, there's just this curiosity around your language. How it's both liberating and exciting and vital and communicating something real and alive, and how it can get kind of stuck and repetitive and dry. And so that's just something for you to notice this week. What's happening with my thoughts? What's happening with my language? How are my thoughts trying to make sense of new feelings, new experiences, new awareness, new perception? In terms of this idea of what's my business, what's my domain, you might have thoughts and stories around what that is, and that might be shifting. And then you might be feeling a little helpless or overwhelmed or confused about how to express this new reality because you don't have thought forms already created, already kind of in your library. I hope this is making sense. I can feel how this is a little bit wonky and what is she talking about? But at the same time, I feel it very clearly. The vitality around your language is up for not even review, but witnessing this week. A patience for how other people might be struggling to communicate shifts that are occurring in their own being, in their own awareness. We all have our own subjectivity, right? I saw something on it, probably TikTok. The you that you know is singular. Right? When I say Kirsten, I have a whole image in my mind of what that means, what that entails. Nobody, even the people who know me best, share that. They all have their perspective, this thought form, this creation around the idea of who I am. Who I am, no one really feels that the way I feel that. So there's the you that you know, but only you know that. And then every other version of you that exists is someone else's perception of you, perspective around you. Interesting, right? Same thing with words. We say something, and in that gifting of language, we have all this spirit and energy and idea, and we're trying to create shape around something that is actually quite formless. And then we hand that to someone, we put that out in the world. They take it in and they have their own experience of it. Such a form of bravery and courage to try to express yourself, knowing that even someone who understands you best won't be able to take the pure transmission. There's always a mediation in language, always a mediation in the human experience, the communicating about the human experience. Had that, right? You're in an argument or not an argument with someone, you say something and you see their face shift and you're like, they just took that in a way that I did not mean it at all. And that's just an interesting observation. Something to be aware of in this Page of Swords week. The dance of our words, what our words do out in the world. Why do we choose certain words? Why do we hear things the way that we hear them? The Emperor is asking us to kind of take responsibility very broadly in our lives. The Hangman is asking us to shift our perspective around what is our responsibility. And then the Page of Swords is coming in to say, how are you going to talk about that? How do you communicate that? What does that mean to you? What do people hear when you say what that means to you? Who gets you? Who hears you? Who's riding on the train with you? Who's in your canoe, right? That Page of Swords energy is going to be with us. When the Page of Swords comes up, one of my favorite writers about tarot, she says that the Page of Swords is like a teenager who figures out that they can wound their parents with their words. So they'll say something sharp and awful just to see what it does. Just to see, I'm going to put this on the table. What's going to happen now? That's the energy of the Page of Swords. It's not necessarily trying to cause harm. There's no malice in it. But there is this experimentation of, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to try it this way. I wonder what happens now. For ourselves, a lot of compassion and patience with the ways that we become inarticulate, the ways that we struggle to communicate what we want to communicate, to share what we want to share. And then also a lot of patience with the people that we love as they try to express new things. And I'll just say this last thing, what I was saying before about language getting dry, stories getting dry, and how you want there to be a real life and a vitality to your communication. Because why else are you here? If we're going to tell the same old dry story, we're just going to kind of run ourselves into oblivion. The meaning just leaks right out of it. So what I'll say to you is, even if it's hard to communicate something new, it's worth trying. There's something about the vitality, the energy, the desire to connect that exists in language that is precious and sacred. Even if you get it wrong, that's okay. Because there's something about trying to inspire understanding with our language, with our thought, for ourselves and for the world, to ourselves and to the world, that is beautiful and sacred and important, and really the gift of the mental body, the gift of the throat chakra, the gift of connection in that way. Okay, so Page of Swords, language, it's gonna be here with you, it's gonna come up with you, you're gonna notice the energetic value of words more this week. You might notice the ways you get it right, you might notice the ways you get it wrong. Classic thing of when you're disagreeing with someone, you say, you always do this or you never do this, and they're like, don't do that. That's not, those absolutes have no place in the human experience. experience. They have no place in the rich aliveness of two humans, two spirits trying to connect. To express yourself is such a gift. To have the capacity to do that, to be understood, is such a medicine, such a soothing to our heart, soothing of our heart. And the Page of Swords is here to say, like, let's figure out new ways to connect here. Let's figure out new ways to express ourselves. Let's figure out new ways to be heard and to hear. All right, wishing you so much love. Remember what I said about pacing in this 8-year counterbalance. It's all very much alive in this April month. It's an important month. It's an exciting month. It's an energetic month. And you also have the right to do it at a pace that feels nourishing and right and in harmony with your heart, with your body, with your needs. Sounds good. See you later. Have a great week. And let's talk about next week. Okay, bye. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical.